Hyder, thank you for taking the time to speak with us, to speak to our community, to our community. Just, I think right off the bat, I just want to ask, you really put it on for us. Like you are proud in every interview, whether it's a sit-down interview, a podcast, or even a post-game or post-fight. Like you always love talking about how proud you are to be Filipino and you're proud to be part of the Bay Area. Why is it important that you take the time to talk about that?
It's important for me because in the Philippines, I was born in the Philippines. It's like the mother that birthed me. I came here when I was 6.5. In the Bay Area, it was like the mother that raised me. I also have to give it up to my family. They're the reason why I'm what I am right now. Filipinos, we're very family-oriented people, so I have to represent my family. I have to do them honor. We are people of honor and respect. That's why people get along with with Filipinos so well. Everyone has a Filipino best friend because we're also very social. Family's a big deal for us, so that's why I represent us so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you see the comments and the feedback, like people are first of all, it's typical, like, oh, this guy's Filipino,
Yeah.
and or like, oh man, like I'm following him now, like I'm rooting for him, I'm betting money on him. How was that feeling to get like that type of comment and feedback?
It's amazing. It was a lot more than I thought. Yeah, I didn't know. I also had some people write to me and message me. Like this morning, I had a few people from the Philippines message me, giving me support. And honestly, when you're tired doing these training camps, I'm training so hard. I'm gonna be honest, not every day you wake up the most positive, you guys. You try your best when you're this run down, but those little comments from people that, hey man, you're representing us, you're giving me inspiration. I'm in my journey too, or I'm not a fighter, but your journey is motivating me. That gives me so much more like energy. Like I'm getting like chills right now just thinking about it. And so yeah, that really helps me do these fights and these training camps.
Awesome. Cebu City, born in the Philippines, having to grow up there a little bit, and again doing my research, being part of that part of the world, and already at a young age you had to defend yourself because you didn't look like a lot of the other Filipinos running around. What was that like?
Well, I lived on the last house on like a dirt road, and the huts in the Philippines, where like the poor people live. I live in the last house there, so just by proximity, it was like they see me, and at the time they called me puti, which means white. They called me a little white boy back then, because I was very fair. Because my first name is from my dad. My dad's Indian and we're also called like from Uzbekistan, Turkey, or whatever, Malaysia, something like that, Central Asia. That's what my dad is, and so that's how I have my first name. My last name, Amil, is actually Filipino. It just doesn't sound Filipino because they hid my Filipino ancestors from the Japanese during World War I, World War II. So Amil is actually my Filipino last name.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But between the time, was that when you started training, just maybe unorthodox or unconventional training? It's really just survival. Was that what it's like? The very early stages of your training or career?
What motivated me to fight? I have a lot of stories when I was young that kind of cultivated a fighter's will, per se. Like all the kids, I remember, I always tell the story. I will never forget this story. All the kids threw rocks at me one day, and I was bleeding and stuff like that. And I came back home, and my dad was like, "What happened to you?" I told him what happened, and he told me, "Don't run away again, or else you're a coward." I'm like, "What's a coward?" And he said, "That's the worst thing a man could ever be in this life. If you ever be a coward, I will have your balls. Don't ever run away again." And so he showed me how to make a fist, and then showed me where to punch the guy in the face. And so after that, I went out to the huts, and I went to find the leader of the kids. And I was 6 years old, and he was 12. The difference between a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old is about like 2 feet, okay?
Right.
So I went over there to go find him, and I see his grandma. I'm like, "Where's Chris?" I want to beat him up, and I teared up because I've never said this to an adult, especially Filipinos, just to even speak to an adult that way is just like, oh my God. So I said that, and I teared up, and she laughed at me and said, "Run away, Chris will beat you up." And I was actually relieved that he didn't show up, but right then and there, that told me I'm never backing down for a fight. I don't care what the odds are. I'm never backing down from a fight. So when I came here to the U.S., that's what I did because I had to assimilate. And when you're Asian, especially coming here, a lot of Asian people, especially my family members, get picked on. And because I'm Hapa or whatever, I want to go stick up for them, and I don't want my sister and my mom getting picked on. So I wanted to make sure I defended everyone. And that's what made me actually to be a fighter.
Did Chris ever get it?
Chris never got it.
No.
And honestly, Chris would have beat me up.
Because then the next question was, did Lola get it afterwards? Yeah. But yeah, no, that's a great segue because, but yeah, I mean, when you came here to the U.S. and it's not like how it is now. Like back now, there's so much representation. Obviously, you're representing for us, but there's actors, there's business people, there's people in leadership positions who are Filipino now, and it's really cool to see. But like growing up in the 90s, it wasn't like that yet. And being here in the Bay, even though we're a big melting pot of people, whether it's in Marin or even in Vallejo, it's kind of like and coming from the Philippines, whether, I don't know if was there like a language barrier that other than the cultural barrier that you had to like adjust, how hard was it assimilating?
It wasn't very hard, honestly, because I can draw really well. A lot of people don't know that, but if you look at my Instagram, I used to cartoon. I was known for more being an artist growing up. I could paint, draw, sculpt. I can do anything art just naturally because my dad was an artist. So what I did is I drew cartoons and tattoos on people. So it made me like friends with everyone. Also, I was also kind of like a chatterbox, a big mouth. So I always like to have fun. But because I come from, like, I remember my preschool in the Philippines had a door in the middle of the class, and with steps down to basement, and with a chair, and that's how they would punish you. And because I really stuck out, they always put me there. So I'd always be in a basement underneath the classroom, pitch black, and that was how they punish you. And that was school. And school, the teachers will hit you with a 2x4. I come back home. When I was 5 or 6 years old, I've had 9 teeth pulled out without anesthetic. All right, so I felt every bone break out of my mouth. That's what cultivated my pain threshold, my pain tolerance. So I was so used to such an intense life. When I came over here and someone tried to bully me, I grabbed the biggest bully and I pulled him to me. I'm like, let's go do this. I was already hard. By the time I got here, I was already ready to fight. I'm from a third world country. My dad didn't even let my mom hug me. My dad always, my dad was a big, strong, crazy dude. Like, he'd grab a coconut and punch it one time and crack it open. So he just wanted me to be tough. So by the time I came here to the U.S. and they wanted to bully me or wanted to take, even though I was smaller, I was just a lot crazier, so I just didn't care. And I wanted to make sure that no one picked up my family members.
Absolutely. Yeah. Was that happening a lot? I mean, that's one thing for you, but was that happening a lot to your sisters and mom?
Yeah, my dad was abusive to my mom. I remember having to watch my dad and meet my dad abuse me a lot. I have so many crazy stories. It's unbelievable. Let's just put it this way. There were circumstances in my life where I realized through my mom's boyfriends, my sisters, that I'm the only one who's going to take care of them. And everyone always told me, Hyder, you're the man of the house. So by the time I was 11, I started training kickboxing. Not because I wanted, I had bullies. Yeah, I wanted to beat up these bullies. I didn't really care that much about being a tough guy, I'm going to be honest. I didn't care about being a fighter. I didn't care about none of that. All I cared about was taking care of my mom and my sisters. That's the main reason why I wanted to fight. But then I realized when I started training, it gave me confidence. It gave me respect. People started respecting me. It put fear into people so no one would touch my cousins or family members because of what I would do to them. And I I'm gonna be honest. It got to a point where it was like I was messing with the wrong. Wasn't like I was messing with the wrong people. I was defending my family members from dangerous people, and it got me in a lot of stuff.
Okay. With that being said, like, do you think that I guess the path for you was kind of chosen, right? When you were talking about defending yourself, defending your family, and it's led you to this career. Could you see yourself doing anything else? I mean, you talked about being an artist. Like, if you weren't fighting, could you see? I mean, was there anything else that you think you would be doing?
I'm gonna be honest. Fighting helped me get my life together. I've always been like some guy likes to live life on the edge. I had this thing about adrenaline. My dad is a gambler, so he likes thrill seeking. In a sense, I like gamble with my life with fighting. I just have a more positive twist to it. But I like intense things. I'm because of all the abuse and things I had growing up. It gave me a lot of PTSD and trauma and anger, which I got therapy for. I trained for, and that's why I feel like I am in the position I am now because I found internal peace. And that's one thing I want to let everyone know is to work on themselves and find. And martial arts is a great way. It gives the wild discipline. It gives the weak strength and courage. You know, that's why. And martial arts will teach you more to be like this. Fight sports will teach you more to be a man a lot of times than your own dad will, because you have a lot of coaches and other father figures, and you have to relate and communicate with people all the time. And a lot of these people become your role models, as well as every day you try to make yourself better physically and mentally, but also spiritually. So it becomes almost like a religious kind of process.
Right. I understand that your father passed away. Were you able to make peace with him, or at least make peace with that trauma, or have some type of closure?
I'm gonna be honest. No, I didn't. It actually happened yesterday. I kind of had like a hard day yesterday. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to talk about stuff, but I'm just gonna say it. Because the podcast posted this story I told them, and it just reminded me of my dog. Actually, that's my dog right here. Yeah. But so my last fight, the 6 months before my fight, my best friend died. 3 months later, my dog died. 3 months later, my dad died. Right. And my best friend, the nickname Hurricane comes from him. You know, one of those friends that you can just call any time. And my dog was like, because I live in Vallejo on Magazine Street. It's a ghetto. It's hardcore over there. I'm not gonna lie. And my two sisters and my mom, are pretty. You know, they're pretty. They're good looking. So there's a bunch of guys around. You know, so my dog made sure no one touched the house and made sure did her duty and everything. And so when that happened, then my dad died. So it was kind of like a series of bad events. And when I was young, I was bitter about my dad leaving me. I was mad. I was angry. I even told people he was dead just because but as I got older, and I want everyone who maybe didn't have their parent in their life and stuff like this, I wanted closure because I realized I stopped being angry. I realized how much I am just like the Bible says, father sins as the son sins. He gambles with money. I gamble with my life in a certain way. A lot of his primary, how his drive is in me. And I see the look in his eyes in this picture. It's like me. So, you know, if anyone's hearing this, it's just like, yeah, maybe your parents, but there are people too. You know, it's hard for me to believe that my mom got with this guy and he was a bad person his whole life. I think when anyone has addiction, whether it's gambling, drinking, or whatever, saying that it can change a good man into a bad man or a bad woman. So you got, like I tell some of my friends and people, like, and I want everyone to know this, like, dude, if you have a friend, you like tell them that you got their back. If you have a pet, kiss them. If you have a parent, tell them you love them, you know, because life's too short to be being upset. No one's perfect. Everyone's a human being. They're just trying their best, you know. So people are too hard on their parents for not giving them more stuff. I hear my parents, but I tell my friends and a lot of my friends all the time, I would give everything to have just even a dad who was kind of there, you know. So if anyone's hearing that, give your family member a kiss.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
On that note, what does your family think about your career? I mean, your sisters, your mom, or even if your dad, if you ever did you ever find out? Like, are they
No,
proud?
I wanted to get closure after my fight. Then he died, and it sucked. But that's life for you. So you have to while it's there, you never know what happens. So you gotta go take care of it if you have the thought. So that was my life lesson I learned. So Filipino family, a lot of pressure, very hard. Everyone in my family is like doctor, lawyer. I think my cousin was like a Purple Heart in the military. So it was a lot of pressure. And a lot of my family members like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing this fighting thing? Like what are you doing? And so finally, when I won the contender and got into the UFC, then they're like, oh, you're the real deal. Like you're actually. And then I think when I did that 38 combo, then that's when people were like, okay, they're like, he's legit, like I have to be 10-0 to get 10-0, win the contender and all that to get one. I'm proud of you for my mom. You know how difficult that is. You got to go above and beyond just to get a thumbs up. But that thumbs up means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Thankfully for like Pacquiao and Munoz and all those who came before us, like, do you think that Filipinos are respected in the fight game?
I think Filipinos are known to be great fighters. I feel like a lot of Filipinos are very humble. And I feel like the humbleness gets them kind of walked across a lot of times, not given the right things. I feel like for me, I want to maintain my humility, because without maintaining your humility, that is the beginning of your downfall. However, I will, if I have to, I will call people out to fight me. I won't really, I don't cross the line disrespecting people. I feel like there should be more outspoken Filipinos and Asians in general. I feel like that's part of the reason why in the U.S., like a lot of our family members and people kind of get picked on, because we have a level of respect we give to people naturally. That's why when they go to Philippines, they're like, oh my God, everyone here is amazing, they're respectful, or whatever. And that's just our general norm. The general norm over here is pretty dang disrespectful, It's, you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing I love about our culture. Like the average Filipino, like I was just saying, is just 90% of us will open their door to you and will feed you, and just a good person. And that's why I gotta represent the Philippines, man. We're just way too awesome to everyone, and we gotta show that, hey, we're also amazing fighters also.
Absolutely, yeah. We're probably the nicest people, but don't piss us off.
Don't piss us off.
We're almost done here. What's next? I mean, like you're on this. Your stock is rising, undefeated. You got another fight coming up. What's the ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal is to be a legend of sport, to be champion, hopefully multiple belts, represent the Philippines. I told myself when I was a kid, when I leave the Philippines, I'm going to come back and change things. So that's what I was going to do. I made that plan when I left, when I was 6.5. I made that plan, and I'm sticking to it. So when I come back, that's what's going to happen. I've been making the same wish since I was 11 years old, and it's almost there.
It's almost there.
All right? So I'm just saying, as much as I like to live for myself, I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm tied to a bigger purpose, and I feel like I won't stop until it's done.
Absolutely. Do you still speak Tagalog or Cebuano?
Not as much as I used to.
Yeah.
But we can practice.
That's the same. That's what I say. I say I speak enough to get fed and not get kidnapped.
I'm getting kidnapped for sure.
What was the other thing I was going to ask you is, it's full circle. You're helping kids fight or learn how to fight, or you teach kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I have a gym.
A gym.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
a gym. Yeah.
So I have a gym in San Rafael, California, Marin County. That's just north of San Francisco. It's called Hurricane Athletics. So we just have, boxing, Muay Thai, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu there. We have a great program. So if you guys are ever around, please come by and check us out.
Was there anything else that you want to add, clarify, anything in your story that like you want to say specifically to our Filipino community? Thanks, shout outs, anything.
To all my Filipino people out there, check me out UFC 317, June 28th. I'm going to put on for every one of you guys. And as Filipinos, we like to strike and make it exciting. So check me out.
Awesome. We got it? We got it. All right.
Hopefully that was okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you guys.
That was awesome.
That was awesome,
Appreciate
dude.
you
Thank
always.
you guys. Hey.